Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian here at the Gaylord National Harbor Convention Center just outside Washington, D.C., where we're covering the Air Force Association's Aerospace and Cyber Conference and Trade Show. Our coverage here is sponsored by L3 Technologies and Leonardo DRS, and we have Kondrotis, who's joining us now, who's the Senior Vice President for Defense Programs at Spirit AeroSystems.
You bet.
Good to see you.
Hi, Vago. How are you doing?
It's great. Thank you very much. We've been chasing each other all week, so I'm glad that we finally made it happen. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you guys is, I don't know if folks recognize exactly how much of your DNA is in virtually every single one of the products that's on the floor. Whether it's commercial programs, where you guys have been involved in for a long time, whether it's defense programs. You know, we were talking about the new CH-53 that's going into the United States Marine Corps service.
Absolutely.
You guys are an absolutely critical part of that supply chain. Talk to us a little bit about the kind of engineering you bring to bear that actually makes a lot of this stuff that we're looking at here a reality.
Yeah, so it's interesting, the fact that Spirit AeroSystems, first of all, we're at AFA. This is our second year of doing this. Spirit AeroSystems really isn't known in the defense community very much. We're 95% commercial. So basically any airplane that you fly, we make a large portion of that or a bit of it. So when you think about a 787, the whole front end of a 787, we build that whole composite structure for Boeing. Same with a 777 relative to the front section, section 41, on all the airplanes, and including the pylons and sometimes the nacelles and thrust reversers. So Boeing is our largest customer, and I think we're their largest tier 1 customer. Also Airbus programs, a significant piece of our business, the center section, section 15 for the A350, and then we also do wing work and such on the A320 and other programs. So when you think about Spirit AeroSystems, very, very commercial, a spin-off of Boeing about 11 years ago, but we've really established ourselves and taken that next step to enter the defense market. So relative to CH-53K, which you mentioned, a very proud partner of Lockheed Martin Sikorsky on that. We build the composite fuselage for the CH-53K, and that program is just starting to ramp up. The V-280 is another significant partnership with Bell. We're proud to support them relative to the prototyping on that program. Design and build of the center fuselage, all composite, in 22 months out of Spirit. And then we are also a proud partner of Northrop Grumman. We were named as one of the significant partners on the B-21 program. So that's something that we're very proud of.
But you guys had a legacy and a heritage of that work, including on the B-2 and other programs, because you guys were Vought and then Boeing, and now you guys have your independence. Talk to us a little bit about where you guys are making investments, and what are some of the commercial production approaches that you guys are bringing onto the defense side of things? Because I think that folks in the defense community don't have sometimes an understanding for the rate and pace of production that, you know, if you look at the 737 program, it is cranking at, that is a very persistent fly, actually. The 737 program, you know, we visited Renton last year. I mean, it's amazing how much throughput there is in a small factory, and you guys are a key part of making that program happen.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about what are some of the commercial manufacturing techniques that you're bringing folks in the industry, because cost pressure is a key thing that everybody's trying to drive out of the portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a key thing that people don't realize on the commercial side, especially from a defense perspective, is the ability to ramp up in a program. The fact is, on 737, which we build about 77% of that, and the center fuselage is a big piece of that, we're putting 47 fuselages a month out of the factory. And we're getting ready to do another rate break in January to head to 52. So that's significant. And in order to do that, you really have to design in that capability up front. So when you look at our portfolio, for the majority of our programs, we design and build. So we design in an ability to limit tooling. So think of determinate assembly. It's a process we call Spirit Exact, and we try to apply that across the board. And you can do that, you know, at a small level to a very large, what we call Spirit Exact Extreme. So we're trying to bring that same philosophy into the defense side to help relative to, you know, not only reduce cost and design in a reduction of cost up front into the program, but then the ability to ramp a program up in the end is very important.
And talk to us about what your growth plans are. I mean, as you're looking at this space, Is that something that you guys want to get to the prime level? Because you're within striking distance of being able to deliver that. I mean, is that something you guys would consider at a time when maybe the Pentagon might be looking for new supply, a new prime to enter the universe?
Actually, I think right now we're very comfortable at the tier 1. We are looking at expanding in a number of areas. Defense is one. We just did a reorganization to really focus on defense and integrate that across our programs, but also fabrication. So we do a lot of vertical integration when it comes to fabrication, 3, 4, 5 axis machining and processing. We have the largest automated processing line in the world. So what we want to do with that is take that also external. So to be able to expand that capability, because we have capacity to do that. And so by combining those areas, I think that really can help us grow and leverage our capabilities on the commercial side into the defense side.
And let's talk briefly about additive. I mean, everybody's talking about additive manufacturing as a holy grail. How do you guys integrate that? Because, additive works for some things, not for other things. Talk to us about where that fits into your production engineering, production thinking.
Yeah, from the additive manufacturing, there's a philosophy of either you're going to really invest in it and be a huge player in that, or you're going to utilize it in certain areas and you're going to create partnerships to help you do that. So we're really right now focused on creating the partnerships. We had an agreement partnership with Norse Titanium that's really going to that next level of how do we apply that into the commercial world, but we'll also look at using that into the defense platforms too.
Let me ask you also, last question on verticality. There are a lot of companies that in this sector were doing a lot of vertical work. They were, whether it was shipyards doing their own ducting and a whole bunch of other things, and everybody went into this sort of outsourcing craze where they, were like, well, it's much cheaper if we're not the guys doing it and we're buying it, and you don't realize that now you're paying profit on each one of those things that almost everybody else is doing. Whereas, do you think that verticality is actually one of your core strengths and advantages, that the whole that large parts of this supply chain are actually within your walls, so that you can control surge and moderate that and direct that without necessarily having to pay a profit penalty almost on each one of these things that you're doing across the production chain?
Yeah, I think that is really important. In fact, I think you answered the question. The fact is that in order to be able to, especially in this commercial world, be able to ramp as we're needing to ramp, being able to control some of that input from a fabrication standpoint is really key. And the supply base is stretched. It is, whether it be a tier 1 all the way down to tier 3 or such. And so being able not only to create that or have that capability internally, but then be able to help the suppliers out when they get into a position where maybe they can't produce something and we can help by bringing that internal is really key. So it's a partnership all the way upside and down relative to the value stream. And especially relative to supporting folks like Airbus and Boeing on the commercial side. And I think there's a huge benefit by bringing that integration, that vertical integration and that expertise over into the defense area. I think the really key thing that we need to do is get more people to see what it is that we provide.
And where do you guys want to be in 5 years in the defense space? Is there a money target there that you guys are going to be shooting for?
So Tom Gentile, our CEO, has made it clear that he does want to grow. We're about 3 to 5%, depending on how you count it right now, because we also have commercial derivatives like the P-8, which is 737, and then the KC-46 tanker with Boeing. But really, he wants to get to a target of about 15% over the next 5 to 10 years. So it's pretty significant when you look at a $7 billion company. So really looking forward to growing that portfolio.
And absolutely no pressure on you whatsoever.
No pressure at all. Absolutely not.
Chrissy, real pleasure. Thank you so much. Best of luck.
Okay, thank you.